Welcome everybody. Thank you for celebrating International Youth Day here with us at Believers Love World Campus Ministry. First and foremost, I'd like to thank our dear man of God, Pastor Chris. Sir, thank you for guiding me, for teaching me. Thank you, sir. I love you dearly. A big thank you to our CMD, Pastor Henry, and our international missions pastors, Pastor Humphrey and Pastor Clinton. Thank you so much for everything you are doing. Now, let's talk careers. First, who am I? I'm Fourie. I'm from Cape Town, South Africa, and I am currently an IFP tutor in Stirling University, in Chengdu University, in the city of Chengdu, in China. I know, it's a hop, skip, and a jump to get to where I need to go, but we'll get there. So, the big question, why China and how did I get here? So, prior to China, life kind of had me on a different path. I was, due to circumstances, I ended up working as a photographer on cruise ships. Now, if you know me, or should I say if you knew me, back then you would be scratching your head and just have giant question marks, because I'm a nerd, I'm a gamer. I don't like people, I don't like talking to them, I don't like hanging out with them. Kind of, you do your thing, let me do my thing, leave me alone. Then I was thrust into working on cruise ships, front of house, in the hospitality industry at a 5-star level. Needless to say, it was challenging, and that is an understatement. There are times when I broke. I broke. And I did not think that I would make it, because on cruise ships, you are working 7 days a week for 6 to 8 months of the year. You know, you have hours off. You don't really have days off. And there are times when I didn't think that I would make it. But I did. And I came out all the better for it. And I came out with skills that took me beyond what I could learn in a classroom. It took me beyond what I could learn from a book. Before we get into what some of those skills are, let's talk about my title, IFP Tutor. What is that? So, the IFP program is part of Stirling University in Chengdu University. It's part of the degree that the students here have to take, because our courses are for Chinese students, but they have to do it in English. Now, if you know anything about English in China, it is limited in daily life. Road signs, newspapers, media, 99.9% of it is all in English. It's all in Chinese. You do not hear English around you. So for these students to come to learn their degrees, either in digital media, data science, or sports studies in English, they need a better foundation of English than what they got from their high schools or their textbooks. So it's up to me as an English teacher to bring them a level of English that they are able to use in going forward with their studies, because at the end of their studies, towards the end of their degree, they will have the opportunity to go to Stirling in Scotland and finish their degrees there. In basic terms, I teach English as a second language. I'm an ESL teacher. So, what do you need to be an ESL teacher in China? First and foremost, you need a BA. You need at least 2 years of teaching experience. Most likely you will also need a TEFL certificate. And because you're coming to a foreign country, in order to get a work visa, you will need to have a criminal record check. teaching English here in China can be split into 3 sectors, if you want to put it like that. You have the training schools, you have the public schools, and then you have the international schools. Your training schools tend to be your younger learners, as well as students wanting to do English as an after-school extra study. Then you have your public schools, which will have you as a teacher to large classes, most likely 40 to 50 children, and you will have a kind of a 9-to-5 schedule. Then you have your international schools, which they are the sister schools to a school in another country. For example, we are Stirling University in Chengdu University, so we are affiliated with Stirling in Scotland. So they tend to have a curriculum developed by the original school and then approved by the Chinese government. When I first started, I remember I started in a training school, and one of the first students I had was a young girl. I believe she was maybe 5 or 6 years old, and I was teaching her the animals. So in teaching English like this, you would show the picture and then elicit the word. Rabbit. So this is what I was aiming to get from her. So she responded with rabbit. Yummy. Needless to say, I had to maintain my composure in class. This is one of those culture things that no book can teach you, and that is that a rabbit head is a delicacy here in the Sichuan province. This was one of those perhaps minor culture shocks than what you could experience, but how you deal with these that is how you grow in either a positive way or a negative way. Are you going to, when faced with some of the larger challenges that coming to live in a different country comes with, are you going to, how they say, throw your toys out of the cot? Or are you going to choose to approach these things logically and analytically and solve the problem and learn from it? Let's go back to some of those skills that I mentioned that I learned while doing photography on cruise ships that overflowed into my life today and continue to add value to where I'm going. One of those is communication. Can you communicate effectively with anyone you meet with? Can you communicate with someone who washes your cars? And if you walk into a boardroom with a bunch of CEOs? Effective communication is, I believe, one of the cornerstones to us as individuals, because wherever we go, there are people. We need to know how to communicate with them, and we need to learn to both accept and love them, no matter how we feel about them. That is very important. Another important skill is active listening. How many times do we think that, and do we feel that people aren't actually listening to what we're saying? This is an important skill to develop, I think, regardless of whether you are working in a foreign country or whether you are at home in your school, where you are with your classes, is do people around you feel like you are actively listening to them? Again, it's one of those skills that you do need to learn and you do need to practice, and you can become a master of it. Another skill is resourcefulness. Can you solve the problem with what you have right now? And if you can't, do you know where to go to get help to solve the problem? Having the mindset of, I can't do this, or this is not my problem, it actually takes away from your opportunity to learn. It takes away from yourself this opportunity for you to grow, to improve, and be better, be a step above than what you were yesterday, a month ago. Another skill that I believe is vitally important is adaptability. Adaptability is not compromising to the extent where you ignore everything that you've set for yourself in order to be a part of the culture you find yourself in. Adaptability is being able to adapt to your surroundings while maintaining your boundaries, while maintaining who you are. You are still able to function effectively and to be effective where you are. An example of this would be here in China, they tend to make changes at the last minute. So I was in between apartments at one time and I was staying with a Chinese family. And then Chinese New Year came around. So they told me with 2 weeks' notice that I would have to leave because they are going on holiday. The inner me was just like, Chinese New Year happens every year. Couldn't you have told me sooner? But I had a problem that I needed to solve, and that was I needed a place to stay and I needed to do it ASAP. And now put yourself in that position. What would you do? You have to find a way to solve the problem. Don't let your emotions get involved. Don't get mad at the people. You know, it is not our responsibility to live their lives for them, but it is our responsibility how we respond to these situations. And that is what pushes us forward, pushes us to being better. And that is what we all need to work on. So adaptability, no matter where you are, because life is continuously changing around you. Everything around us is temporary. So how do you solve the problem? Look at things analytically. Look at things logically. And as I mentioned, if you think you don't have the right resources to solve the problem, ask someone who does. Another piece of advice I can give you is think big. Think beyond your classroom. Think beyond your school. Think beyond your city. Think beyond your family. Think big. Dream big. Where do you see yourself? Get a picture in your mind. Where do you see yourself tomorrow? Where do you see yourself in a month? Where do you see yourself 5 years from now? Think big. You are limited to what you can picture for yourself. So, what can you take away from this? Develop yourself. Study in excellence. And in everything you do, whether it's your homework or washing the dishes, be excellent about it. Develop that habit of make sure that you are putting in your best effort. You only fail when you give up. So put in your best effort and be excellent about it. And develop that habit, because you will see that this will flow over into the rest of your life. You will see that the habits you develop today, whether good or bad, the decisions you make today, whether good or bad, they are the ones that will influence your next week. They are the ones that will roll over into your character, into the person you will become. So choose to do things in excellence. Choose to do things the right way. Choose to do things in integrity. Choose to be a man or woman of your word. It doesn't matter what your friends do. It doesn't matter what the people around you do. When you say you're going to do something, do it. Don't be a person of excuses. Be a person of excellence. Picture yourself going forward. Picture yourself big. Aspire to be great. Work towards it. Everything you do should be pushing yourself towards your goal. The people you hang out with, the books you read, the videos you watch, the games you play, the music you listen to, everything in your life should be pushing you towards your goal, whatever it is. So even if you don't end up as a teacher, teaching as a second language, be excellent. Develop yourself. And you know what? You can do it. It was Henry Ford, I believe, who said that whether a man thinks he can or thinks he can't, he is right. So what are you thinking about yourself? What are you seeing about yourself? And don't let what the world, what's happening around you, dictate where you are going. And something to take note of: if you are the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong crowd. There is no growth when you are the smartest person in the room. Surround yourself with people you can learn from and grow with. And I just want to say thank you to the pastors for the opportunity to share, and thank you that I and my family can be a part of the Love World vision, and thank you that we can share in this International Youth Day. Thank you very much, and have a glorious International Youth Day.